Japanese students consistently rank in the top 5 globally for math and science. But here's the weird part. They don't study more hours than American students. They study differently. After digging into Japanese education research and testing these methods myself for an entire semester, I found 7 brain-based techniques that actually make information stick. Not highlighting, not rereading, actual memory encoding strategies.
And yeah, I'm ranking them, because some of these are game changers and others are solid but situational.
Let's start with number 7. Method 7, the clean desk reset. Walk into any Japanese classroom and you'll notice something immediately. The desks are empty. No scattered papers, no random pens, just the current task. It's called seiri, a concept from Japanese organization culture that means sort and discard. Before studying, Japanese students spend 60 seconds clearing everything except what they need for the next study session. One subject, one notebook, one task. Why does this work? Your brain has limited attentional capacity. Princeton neuroscience research shows that physical clutter competes for your attention, reducing working memory capacity by up to 20%. When you clear the desk, you're not just organizing objects, you're clearing cognitive space. Here's why it's only C tier. It helps with focus, but it doesn't directly improve memory retention. It's foundational, not transformational. But if you're someone who studies with 47 tabs open and textbooks scattered everywhere, start here. Quick action. Before your next study session, spend 60 seconds. Clear the desk, keep only what you need for the next 25 minutes. Method 6, active recall cards. American students love flashcards, but most use them wrong. They read the front, flip to the back, think, yeah, I knew that, and move on. Japanese students use what's called noto kakunin, verification notes. It's active recall, but with a specific structure. Here's how it works. 1. Write the question on one side. 2. On the back, write the answer plus why it matters and how it connects to something else. Example. Front says, what is mitochondria? Back says, powerhouse of the cell, produces ATP energy. Without it, cells can't function. Connects to why we need oxygen, cellular respiration. Why this works? Your brain doesn't remember isolated facts. It remembers networks of meaning. Cognitive science calls this elaborative encoding. The more connections you build, the stronger the memory. The reason it's B tier is it takes more time than passive reading, and some students give up. But if you actually do it, your retention rate jumps from about 30% to 70%, according to research from Kyoto University's Learning Lab. Try this. Next time you make flashcards, add one connection or why it matters statement to the answer side. That's it. One extra line changes everything. Method 5, the 5-minute window. Here's something most American students don't know. The first 5 minutes after class ends are the most important for memory. Japanese students have a practice called fukushu jikan, immediate review time. Before they leave class, they spend 5 minutes rewriting the key points from the lesson in their own words. Not copying, not highlighting, rewriting from memory. This is based on the spacing effect discovered by Hermann Ebbinghaus. You forget about 50% of new information within 1 hour unless you actively review it immediately. That 5-minute window is your brain's save button. If you review within 5 minutes, the information moves from short-term to long-term memory pathways with minimal effort. Why it's B tier is because it requires discipline in a moment when you just want to leave class and check your phone. Most students won't do it, but the ones who do, they cut their study time in half later because they actually retained the lecture. Real talk, you don't need to rewrite everything, just the main concept and 2 supporting points. 5 minutes, that's the investment. Method 4, chunking with rhythm. Ever wonder why you can remember song lyrics from middle school, but not the biology chapter you read last week? Rhythm. Japanese students use something called godo awase, mnemonic phrases with rhythm and rhyme. They turn boring information into rhythmic patterns that stick. For example, to remember the first 15 digits of pi, they use a rhythmic phrase that sounds natural when spoken out loud. The rhythm creates a retrieval cue. Why does this work? Your brain's hippocampus, the memory center, is highly sensitive to patterns and rhythm. Information with rhythmic structure gets encoded faster and retrieved easier than random information. This isn't just Japanese tradition, it's neuroscience. Studies from Tokyo's National Institute for Educational Policy show that rhythmic learning increases recall by up to 40%. But here's the key, you have to create the rhythm yourself. Pre-made mnemonics work okay, but when you create the pattern, your brain forms stronger neural pathways. I'm putting this in A tier because it works for hard-to-remember sequences. Formulas, dates, anatomy terms, chemical compounds, anything with a specific order. Action step. Take one formula or sequence you need to memorize. Say it out loud with exaggerated rhythm. Repeated 3 times. Your brain will lock it in. Method 3. The error log system. This one changed how I study completely. Japanese students keep what's called a machigai noto, a mistake notebook. Every time they get a problem wrong on homework, practice tests, or exams, they don't just move on, they log it. The format is simple. What I got wrong, why I got wrong, the correct approach, how to recognize this mistake next time. This isn't about shame, it's about pattern recognition. Because here's the thing, you don't make random mistakes, you make systematic mistakes. You have blind spots, and until you identify them, you'll keep making the same errors over and over. Research from Tokyo's National Institute for Educational Policy shows that students who keep error logs improve test scores 15 to 25% faster than students who just redo problems. Why? Because you're not practicing what you already know, you're targeting your actual weaknesses. This is A tier because it works for every subject. Math, science, languages, history, anytime there's a right and wrong answer, the error log reveals your patterns. Start today, get a notebook, label it mistakes. Next time you get something wrong, write it down with the 4 points above. Do this for 2 weeks and watch your test scores change. Method 2. Teach back protocol. Want to know if you actually understand something? Try explaining it to someone who knows nothing about it. Japanese students use Oshiru Benkyo, teaching by studying. After learning a concept, they explain it out loud as if teaching a younger student. Not reading from notes, explaining from memory. This is grounded in the protege effect. Research shows that when you prepare to teach something, your brain organizes information differently. You don't just memorize, you understand. Here's the protocol. 1. Study the material normally. 2. Close the book. 3. Explain it out loud like you're teaching a 10-year-old. 4. When you get stuck, note where. 5. Go back and re-study only the stuck points. 6. Teach it again. The stuck points are your knowledge gaps. Most students don't know their gaps exist until the exam. This method reveals them early. Why is this S tier? Because it doesn't just help you remember, it builds genuine understanding. You can apply the concept in new situations, not just regurgitate it. I use this for organic chemistry. I'd sit in my room and teach the reaction mechanisms to my wall. Felt ridiculous, worked incredibly well. You don't need an audience. Talk to your phone's voice recorder. Teach your dog. Teach the air. The act of verbalizing from memory is what rewires your brain. Do this tonight. Pick one concept from today's class, close your notes, explain it out loud for 2 minutes. Notice where you hesitate. That's what you need to restudy. Method 1. Spaced repetition calendar. This is the single most powerful memory technique Japanese students use, and it's backed by decades of cognitive science. It's called Bunsan Gakushu, distributed learning. Instead of cramming everything the night before the exam, you review material at specific intervals designed to fight memory decay. Here's the exact system. Day 1, learn the material. Day 2, review for 10 minutes. Day 4, review for 5 minutes. Day 7, review for 5 minutes. Day 14, review for 5 minutes. Day 30, review for 5 minutes. That's only 30 minutes of total review time spread over a month, but because it's timed correctly, the information becomes permanent retention. Japanese students use physical calendars or apps to schedule these reviews. They don't rely on "I'll review when I feel like it," they schedule it like appointments. Why is this S tier and not just A? Because it's not a study hack, it's a system. Once you set it up, it runs automatically, and the results are permanent retention, not short-term cramming. American students cram for 6 hours the night before and forget everything 2 weeks later. Japanese students review for 30 minutes total over a month and remember it for years. The math is simple. Cramming equals high effort, low retention. Spaced repetition equals low effort, high retention. Set this up now. 1. Get a calendar. Phone calendar works fine. 2. For anything you learn today, schedule reviews on day 2, 4, 7, 14, and 30. 3. Each review is only 5 to 10 minutes. 4. Do not skip reviews. This single system will transform your grades. I'm not exaggerating. So here's your ranking. S tier, spaced repetition calendar, teach back protocol. A tier, error log system, chunking with rhythm. B tier, 5-minute window, active recall cards. C tier, clean desk reset. Look, Japanese students aren't smarter than American students. They just use systems that align with how the brain actually works. You don't need all 7 methods. Start with one S-tier technique. For most students, I'd say start with spaced repetition. Set up your review calendar today for one subject. That's it. Or if you want immediate results, try the teach back protocol tonight. Pick one concept and explain it out loud. You'll instantly know what you actually understand versus what you just think you know. Simple systems, better memory, better grades. If this helped, drop a comment with which method you're trying first. And if you want more brain science study techniques that actually work, subscribe because there's a lot more where this came from. Now, stop rereading your notes for the 5th time and start using your brain the way it was designed to work.